what's up YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, and I am back with another My 2 Cents video. This time I'm going to be talking about Nintendo. As most of you know, I am a Nintendo fan though, even though I'm wearing a Fault Boy t-shirt though. I mean, I own a Nintendo system and a PlayStation system, Wii U and PS4 in particular though. And the reason I want to talk about Nintendo is that there has been some response lately. There's been some articles and some YouTube videos that have recently caught my attention, and some articles as well. And I thought I would like to address them though. And I'm going to address them in basically 3 parts. 1, 2, and 3 though. I'm going to start with part 1, and I'm labeling this one the rant though. Now, I recently got a chance to take a look at several YouTube videos, from two YouTubers, RealGamer27 and BearHugger29. I will have a link in the description. You could take a look at the videos yourself, and of course, get your opinion whether you agree with them or not. Though, okay, this isn't a rant against them or anything. I have nothing against BearHugger27. I mean 29. Sorry if I confused the name a little bit, and RealGamer27, but after seeing the video, it almost came off in a way kind of like it sounded a bit like Nintendo's doomed and Nintendo's out of touch and everything. And I have to say, after listening to the videos, I have to say they're kind of both right and wrong in certain areas though. And I think there are some people need to kind of understand sort of the bit of the mindset Nintendo makes. Now, not every mindset Nintendo makes is exactly spot on. As we saw with the Wii U, that was not the case though. The thing people need to understand about Nintendo is that they kind of have a history of sort of doing their own thing. Now, that's both good and bad in 2 different ways. I mean, look what we got when we got the Wii. Whether you love it or hate it, there's no doubt about it of its success though. I mean, 100 million units sold. Any company would kill to have that kind of numbers though. You also had the issue also with the DS as well. I mean, the original DS, not the 3DS though. I mean, again, 100 million. That thing sold very, very well. I mean, Nintendo is known to basically have a history of trying to innovate and come up with new ideas though. Some of those ideas don't always work out as well. I mean, Virtual Boy is one example. The e-reader, though, is another example. So, not every idea works, and I think one of the things that people don't understand or don't entirely understand, though, is that Nintendo tends to have a history of taking a conservative approach to a lot of their decisions. Now, this is both good and bad in 2 ways, at least how I look at it though. On one hand, taking a conservative approach has made them last this long though. I mean, financially they're not in a terrible position. So there's no doubt about that taking some of the conservative approach has worked in their favor. Problem is, however, is that while taking a conservative approach can be a good thing, it also becomes a negative as well, because as we saw with the Wii U, there were a lot of decisions and a lot of issues that I think, in my opinion though, should have been addressed earlier on in the Wii U's life cycle that would have actually helped at least the Wii U though. And given the current position the Wii U is in right now, I think a lot of people, and especially some people, I think that a lot of the criticism against them is like, oh, they're out of touch, or that they're run by a bunch of old people who don't understand this generation, though. And to some degree, yes and no. Yes, I do think they do drag their feet on a lot of things that I think should have been addressed earlier on in the system's life cycle. But at the same time, you also got to understand that Nintendo is not going to copy everything Sony and Microsoft is going to do. I'm not saying they shouldn't look at what they're doing. I mean, Sony and Microsoft do certain things right and wrong with, but they're always going to do their own thing. And I think some of the problems they have, and this is what I see as one of the big problems, is their communicating and marketing as well. They don't do a good job communicating the message very clearly, though. This whole idea of, oh, you should try it out before you make any judgment, that might work to a certain degree, but as we saw with Metroid Prime Federation Force when they announced that at E3 last year, that strategy doesn't always work, though. So I think in response to BearHuggers29 and RealGamer27's video, at least this is what I'm looking at it, though. I could be totally wrong, but this is how I'm viewing it, though, is that people need to understand that Nintendo has a history of not only doing their own thing, but it has a history of taking a conservative approach to a lot of their decisions, though. Again, not all their decisions are perfect, but as far as them being doomed or anything, I don't think they are doomed. I don't think they're in trouble, at least not yet, though. They have enough money in the bank to last for a long time, so I think financially they're not in a terrible position yet. I think what would be the real big concern, at least that's how I'm looking at it, is that the NX and future systems or future ideas don't take off. And once that starts eating through their war chest and the Amiibo situation dies out and doesn't do as well as people had they hoped for, or the whole theme park idea or any of the other ideas that they come up with, then I would start worrying, though. For now, I'm not too concerned about them, at least not yet, but I won't disagree the fact that they need to change some things. They need to modernize in certain areas to compete against Sony and Microsoft. They're not the only kid in the block anymore. I mean, like it or not, the gaming market has changed, and in order for Nintendo to stay relevant, though, they're going to have to change a lot of things. Marketing, advertisement, and communication is one of those big things, though. And if they don't address that problem, though, then it's going to be very hard for them to stay relevant, though. I'm at least hoping that as far as Codename NX goes, their next system, I'm hoping that lessons were clearly learned with the Wii U that they are taken very serious, though, okay? I'm a little skeptical, especially how they handled 2015 last year, but I'm hoping, at least with the new president, though, that lessons really have been learned, and I hope that whatever strategy the late Shigeru Wada left out, though, supposedly the new president said we're going to follow that strategy, but whatever that strategy is, though, I hope he clearly saw the problems, and hopefully these address those problems, though, okay? It's a little too early to tell, but we're just going to have to wait and see how it turns out. So, fingers crossed, at least Nintendo learned their lesson this time around with the Wii U, though. I don't think they're going away anytime soon. Highly doubt they will. But there's no denying the fact that Nintendo does deserve its share of criticism, excuse me, and the fact that they need to adapt and make some changes, certain changes, though, necessary to stay relevant, especially in this day and age, especially in the gaming world that we live in right now. Okay, so this concludes part 1, the rant. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll get into part 2, which is about an article I read from Nintendo Enthusiasts about Nintendo fans not liking non-Nintendo games, and I'll give you my thought about it. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back with part 2, though.
Guess who's living here with the great undead? This paint by numbers life is fucking with my head once again.
Okay, I am back again. I hope you guys enjoyed a bit of a break, though, and we're going to get ready to talk about part 2 of my video regarding Nintendo this week. This video talks about Nintendo fans not liking non-Nintendo games. Now, this video comes into response to an article I read on a Nintendo site called Nintendo Enthusiasts. I'll have a link in the description. You can read it yourself, though. Talking about do Nintendo fans not like non-Nintendo games? And I read the article, though, and again, it's in the description. You can read it yourself and take a look and see what, and have your own opinion, though. And this is sort of a very tricky kind of answer to give, because this answer goes both ways, at least how I'm looking at it, though. Because you got two different kinds of camps of Nintendo fans, as far as I know. On one hand, you have the camp regarding basically the die-hard fanboys or Nintendo fans who believe that, oh, we don't need third parties. Nintendo games themselves sell it, so we don't need them. We could survive on without third parties, though. On the other side of the camp, you have the kind of situation in which you have Nintendo fans who want to see Nintendo return back to the days where they have, like, you know, third-party support was there, though. And, excuse me, though, that we don't have to buy two consoles just to play third-party games. We could just buy one console has all the games, though, or mostly all the games, minus, you know, the first and second-party games from Sony and Microsoft, yada, yada, yada. But you get the idea, though. And I think the truth of the matter is when you look at the Wii U, it kind of opened up that whole debate very easily, because you have two different kinds of situations. And I have to say, the blame really falls on all three areas, though. Nintendo, fanboys, and third parties, though. We'll start off first with Nintendo. Nintendo shares the blame with the current situation with third parties, though, when you look at the fact that they didn't really establish any kind of relationship with third parties in a way. Unlike, say, whether you like what Microsoft or Sony did or not, whatever your opinion about it, where Sony and Microsoft did establish some kind of relationship with third parties to bring their games over. And because of that, you kind of have this situation, especially with the Wii U right now. I mean, with the Wii, though, it almost felt like Nintendo said, we don't have to worry about it. The Wii is selling like hotcakes, so we don't need to worry about that. And, well, safe to say, unfortunately, when the Wii U happened, the problems that they didn't address earlier on, unfortunately, came back and kind of, well, bit them in the ass, though. So, on one hand, you have a situation in which Nintendo shares some of the blame without communicating with third parties, having a good relationship with them, talking with them in terms of addressing some concerns or not. I mean, I'm not saying Nintendo had to bend over backwards for them, but establishing having some kind of relationship may have helped a lot more, though. I mean, there are some third-party support, but it isn't enough for a lot of people, though. The second problem is you have this kind of situation with fans, and without insulting every Nintendo fan, I mean, I'm a Nintendo fan as well. I've been a Nintendo fan since, you know, the original NES came out, though. You have this kind of situation, a very awkward situation, in which, as I said earlier, though, you have people who complain that Nintendo doesn't have, you know, like, there's no third-party games that come out, and when actual third-party games come, good ones to be exactly, I'll get to the third part, though, good ones, as I've seen this before on the Wii with games like Mad World, No More Heroes, and all, people were like, oh no, you see, we only buy for just the Nintendo games, and this creates kind of a situation, though. It creates a situation, especially if you have a third-party developer that puts time and effort into the game, actually does a good job with it, but people don't buy it because they view as much as you hear them complain about Nintendo doesn't have third-party support, you also have the part where basically people saying, oh, this is just, we only buy a Nintendo system for Nintendo games only. This creates a situation, though. This creates a problem, especially for those who want to see the system succeed and third-party support, because when you have that kind of attitude, though, then it puts Nintendo in the situation with the Wii U, in which that you have an issue of this drought, not a steady flow of software coming out, and it creates the kind of situation, like I said, what we have seen with the Wii U, though. I mean, without third-party support, without that holding some of the weight, a lot of these games, the Wii U can't like hold itself. Look at the situation it is right now. Look how long we have to wait for first party games though. I'm not saying they should rush it, but and look at where the Wii U is without that third party support. So for those people who claim that Nintendo doesn't need third party support, I have to say you are dead wrong. Whether you like third parties or not, in order for a system to survive though, they have to have that third party support though, okay? And whatever issue is, Nintendo's going to have to address it though. And finally, I'm going to get to the third part, which is number 3. While I agree Nintendo shares some of the blame, and so does some of the fanboys though, third parties are not off the hook. In fact, if there's anything I've seen this generation, is that a lot of third parties have treated Nintendo fans like second-class citizens. And we've seen with a lot of their games, especially with shabby ports though, the biggest offenders I've seen are Ubisoft and EA. You had the situation with EA who, according to a rumor that came out around the time the Wii U was launched, was that they wanted to force EA Origins onto the Nintendo network. Nintendo said no. EA got pissed and said they were going to port certain games over, to the point where you had some people rant about Nintendo. They want Nintendo to fail so they could go third party and all that stuff. To the fact that before the launch of before the reveal of the Xbox One, you had some folks in EA saying, "Oh, Nintendo is dead" and all that stuff. They're not next gen and anything like that. Well, Xbox One was shown, not to the greatest fanfare ever, and then later you had some of them backtrack to basically, "Oh no, we know Nintendo's next gen. We support them. We support them." And by supporting them, it's basically EA shipping FIFA for the Wii and 3DS with just a change of roster and no upgrade. Yeah, that's really a great way to do that. That's a really great way to show your support, though. And then, of course, you had Ubisoft with the Rayman Legend debacle, in which they delayed the game, which was supposed to come out in February, though, to, I think it was February, 2013. I think that was it, though. February 2013 to all the way up to November, pretty much dooming that game, though, to basically Watch Dogs, minus the overhype and the graphics issue, to the fact that they delayed it for 6 months just to put a map on the gamepad and release it around the same time that Super Smash Bros. Came out. And by doing that, Ubisoft pretty much let that game, the Wii U version of Watch Dogs, die a slow and painful death. So there's a reason why some Nintendo fans don't like third-party developers, though, because of the fact that they feel like third-party developers treat them like shit. And I don't blame them. I've seen a lot of the games third parties have put out, especially Ubisoft and EA, though, and to me, it's a half-assed job. Why spend money on Watch Dogs that's 6 months released 6 months after the original one, where you put little to no content in it whatsoever, not to mention you don't market it and advertise it, where you're putting all this time and effort on the Xbox and the PlayStation version, marketing the hell out of that one. So if you're trying to attract a consumer, they're going to go for the PlayStation and the Xbox version, not the Nintendo version. So by doing that, by doing what they did with Watch Dogs, they're basically dooming that game right from the start. So there's a reason why a lot of Nintendo fans have a distrust with third-party developers. It's because third parties have basically given Nintendo fans the middle finger. And that's somewhat of a big concern, especially coming into NX, though. Are third-party developers going to do that to Nintendo fans again? Are they going to give them the finger again this time around? Are Nintendo fans going to greet them with open arms and say, yeah, we forgive you, we'll buy your games on the NX version? Or they're going to be like, we saw what you did to us on the Wii U, we're not going to buy the NX version because we know you're going to do a half-assed job compared to the PlayStation and Xbox version where you put all that time and effort in it. So it kind of creates this situation, though. So in a way, The answer to this is kind of both a yes and a no. I don't believe all Nintendo fans hate third-party developers. I know there are some honest God third-party developers out there, but when you have developers like EA and Ubisoft pulling that kind of crap on Nintendo fans, it kind of sort of trickles down to other third-party developers, and it makes us Nintendo fans look at them with very suspicious, wondering, this is a multi-platform release? Okay, they're going to treat the Nintendo version like shit, though. And that's a problem. That's the problem. It's their attitude towards us Nintendo fans, whether it's a fanboy or just a regular fan. And by doing that, you're basically adding fuel to you're also adding fuel to basically the fanboys who give a reason why Nintendo doesn't need third parties. They could survive on their own without third parties. So it's, to me, overall on that one, it goes both ways, though. The blame is shared around, though, so I don't think Nintendo fans hate third parties, but I think third-party developers, to a certain degree, need to do a better job and not treat Nintendo fans as second-class citizens, while at the same time, Nintendo has to have better relationship with third-party developers, and a lot of those Nintendo fanboys need to stop. You need to stop with the whole, oh, we don't need them, we could survive on our own without them, though. No. Given the current situation the Wii U is in right now, like it or not, you need that third-party support, though. At least, that's how I'm looking at it. Okay. This concludes part 2. We're taking one last break, though, and we're going to get to part 3, which is about the Wolf Link Amiibo accessing a dungeon that can only be accessed, well, unless you have the Wolf Link Amiibo, and I'll give you my thoughts about that. So, take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Life is good, and I feel great, 'cause mother says I was a great mistake.
Okay, alright, with the last break now over, we are now getting ready to do our final part with the Nintendo, my discussion about certain things about Nintendo that I recently read about. Ready for part 3. Now, this one has to do with an article that has recently popped up. Again, I'll have it in the like I always say, I'll have it in the description, though. Some of these were from Nintendo Life, Nintendo Enthusiasm, and this one is also to a response, and also a response from another YouTuber, BearHugger29, over this, though. And that is the upcoming HD remaster version of The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess is going to have a extra dungeon, but the only way this can be accessed is by having, well, one of these, an amiibo. And in this case, it is the Wolf Link Amiibo, which I think for some places are going to be available, can be available as a bundle, though. I don't know if they're going to sell them separate or not. I believe they will, so if they are, add it in the comment, though, but I don't know 100% sure of it, though. This has led to some criticism about this, particularly, as I said, BearHugger29's video, because of the amiibo situation, though. Now, I like amiibos. I'm going to be honest. I like amiibos. I have collected them. Look right here, the Splatoon one, and of course, as I showed, the Golden Mario Amiibo one, though. So, I like collecting them, and I have used them, though. And I like the concept behind the amiibos, and I don't disagree with some of it, though. That you can unlock features using them, though. The whole Toy for Life thing, and the fact that they could be used for multiple games, and not just one game, like the whole Skylander, or the Disney Infinite, though. So there is some good out of it, though. That said, I cannot say that there is a legitimate criticism to this and to amiibos in general. More importantly, though, the whole issue of supply and demand. And earlier on, we've had cases where a lot of these amiibos, including some rare ones, that have been on sale, and a lot of these scalpers have picked them up and sold them at higher prices, though. I mean, one example is this Gold Mario one that I was lucky to find, especially from an Amazon seller, for like $40. I know that's pushing it, but given the fact that this was only available at Walmart at the time, and given the fact that there was a limited amount, though, can't say I was lucky enough compared to one seller who was selling this for like, and you're not going to believe this, but I've seen from one seller was trying to sell for like $500, which is, yeah, outrageous for something that usually costs $12. I'm not paying that much, though. Another criticism is that while I like the idea of the amiibos, you also have the kind of situation where certain content is gated and locked down and cannot be accessed unless you have those amiibos, though. So, case in point, though, you have, again, the Splatoon amiibos I have right here, though. With a game like Splatoon, certain armor and gear cannot be accessed unless you have these. Or the ultra rare one, the green one, though, basically you couldn't get access to this amiibo, their armor, unless you have this amiibo, which currently here in the US, it's only available as part of the 3-pack, though. Now, in all fairness, though, they have addressed this issue, and I have seen more amiibos being sold. I have also seen more supplies of it, though. I mean, there's now way more the Splatoon amiibos, and I saw a lot of supplies of the Mii Fighter amiibo. So obviously they are addressing this, though. But a lot of people were burned out by the amiibos because they feel they weren't able to get them because there are a lot of people who bought like more than just like two. Some people like me will, depending on what the rarity is, one to use and one to keep, though, as a sort of collector's item. But we've had some where some people have bought like more than two, like maybe like what, 10 to even like almost like 50 or something like that. I don't know if that's exact, but I wouldn't be surprised, though. And this has pissed off a lot of people because a lot of people feel like Nintendo is not addressing this problem, though. And to a certain degree, I kind of have to agree with this, going back to they take a conservative approach to a lot of things. And a lot of people felt like Nintendo didn't really address the supply and demand situation, though. And the fact that it took them this long has sort of, still I mean, it's great that they're addressing it, though, but it still has upset some people. And with this upcoming Link Amiibo, dungeon that can only be accessed with the Wolf Link Amiibo, some people are pretty upset about this, and to a certain degree I can understand why, because we don't know how much supplies they're going to be for these Wolf Link Amiibos, and a lot of people feel like it's gated out content or on this DLC. And well, I remember the whole Tekken Street Fighter controversy, and a lot of people were upset about that, though. So I like the idea of the amiibos, but I can understand the criticism about it, though. I mean, I can understand not a lot of people are happy about this, and to some degree, I can understand that, though. I mean, the game that has gotten it right, at the very least, has been Super Mario Maker, where you can use, your amiibo to unlock, certain characters, though. But if you don't have the amiibo, that's okay. You can basically play the game and unlock it the old-fashioned way. So at least that one handles it very well compared to how Splatoon handled the amiibo situation. And so I can't say that I'm not shocked by people being upset about it, though. I mean, again, I like the idea behind the amiibos. I like the concept, though. But I'm not going to ignore the criticism. I understand the criticism very well, though. I mean, I pre-ordered Twilight Princess HD, and I'm only pre-ordering one, okay? I don't need 50 or anything like that. And the fact that certain stores like GameStop, or at least the one I went to, limited certain amiibos to one per customer, which is pretty amazing that they did it, and yet Nintendo didn't implement that kind of policy whatsoever. And I think that when this was a case of demand outpaced the supply, big time, and Nintendo was unable to keep up with the demand very with this, though. And it took them a while to understand the situation, though. But it's also pissed off a lot of people who are like collecting Amiibos or decided, I'm done. I cannot do this. I cannot go through this, though. And I think that's really unfortunate because, again, I like the Amiibos. I do. I'm still collecting them, though. But I can understand people getting pissed off, especially when you had one seller going with the outrageous price for this one, like I said, $500 for a $12 Amiibo. No. I'm not going to waste that much money on stuff. There are plenty of things I think that are worth $500 that's probably worth paying for. This is not one of them, okay? So, it's a controversial decision Nintendo made, though. And, again, not everyone's going to like the decision. I can understand the criticism, but at the same time, I also think Amiibos are a good idea, and I think the fact that you can unlock certain features with them is not necessarily a bad thing. Again, it's not going to sit well with a lot of people. I understand that, and not everyone's going to agree with that decision, though. And so we'll have to wait and see how this turns out, though, and it's going to be interesting how people choose. If they don't like this, they will, protest with their wallets, of course. I mean, we saw that with Mario Tennis Ultra Smash and the Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, how they performed, though. Although they're doing a little bit better, but they were heavily criticized for, especially Amiibo Festival, though. That one I think upsetted a lot of people, though. So, bottom line, though, this was an interesting week for Nintendo, especially with some of these responses, some of these articles, though. They have a rough road ahead in 2016, though. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, I'm somewhat optimistic, but very cautious. I mean, Nintendo, while as much as I like Nintendo, they're also known to make some controversial decisions that don't exactly sit very well. And they really are going to have to communicate their message better than they have in the past. They cannot sit on this whole, oh, we're Nintendo, so you know us and everything like that. No. Marketing and communication is the key here, and they got to get a clear message out. They got to get a clear marketing strategy and a clear message out, especially if the NX is coming. And assuming the rumors are true about it coming out this year, possibly in November 2016, if those rumors are true, though, then they're going to have to really learn from those mistakes that they made with the Wii U, though. And I am going to leave it on a side note regarding the NX, though. I'm going to end it like this. Although Nintendo has claimed that they will support the two systems, though, I do not believe that, though. I believe that if NX were to truly, and I mean truly take off and really do well, though, then I believe Nintendo will abandon the Wii U as soon as possible. It may not happen overnight, but they will eventually start phasing that out, though. I mean, they said the same thing with the DS when that came out. They said, oh, we'll support the Game Boy Advance. We're going to continue supporting that. And, well, for those who have been playing Nintendo games for a long time, realize that's not the case. That's not the case. And I have a feeling they will do the same thing with the Wii U should codename NX truly take off. Should that happen, though. As for whether NX does come out in 2016 or not, even if it doesn't, then Nintendo's going to have to do something to keep people occupied until it comes out. So it's going to be very interesting, though, all right? It's going to be interesting 2016 for Nintendo. I am hoping, though, that excuse me, that this becomes a more positive year for them. I am hoping that whatever bad blood that was there in 2015, especially after they handled E3 last year, I'm hoping that whatever bad blood and whatever poison and whatever criticism and anger that Nintendo fans had against Nintendo in 2015 is now gone. I hope that it is. I truly hope Nintendo has learned their lesson going into 2016. I know some of these criticisms are legitimate, though, as I pointed out, though. So here's to hoping that 2016 is better for Nintendo, though. Anyway, that concludes my video. Again, these are my opinions, though. Tell me what you think. Do you agree or disagree with my opinion? Do you agree with Bear Hugger 29 and Real Game 27 point of view in this, or do you think they're kind of blown out of proportion, though? Do you believe Nintendo fans do not like third-party games and they prefer just Nintendo games, or you think that's not true at all? And finally, are you okay with the fact that in order to access a brand new dungeon in Twilight Princess that you need a Wolf Link Amiibo? Are you okay with that, or are you kind of upset, or you don't like that decision at all, though? As always, like the video, leave a comment, and of course, leave a comment with your opinion, though, and of course, I hope you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Alright, this concludes my 2 cent video regarding Nintendo. I will hopefully see you again when I do another video. Hopefully that's soon or so we'll have to wait and see, but you guys have a good evening. It's even over here in California, so you guys have a good evening, and I will see you again when I do my next video, okay? Bye!
Novocaine.